Hey, Emerge community, happy Monday and good morning. Today, I am going to just kick us off for the week and talk about customer groups inside Facebook. So at this point, we're all sort of running online businesses, and really that's wise regardless for scaling. And over the next month or so, we're going to be focusing a lot of our training on customer Facebook groups as a way to retain customers, really help them to get better results with their products, help them to be educated, encourage them to share about the product or possibly even build. And so I wanted to just kick us off with some thoughts. I sent out an email last week about, and even by the way, even if you do not admin a group right now, I still want you to listen to this because you're going to hear some things that are going to be super helpful for you also for offline business. So don't get spooked by this and think it's not relevant. So we asked a question about what's hard for you. Are you running groups? If you guys are live, make sure to say hi. And here's a lot of the stuff that we got back, right? How do I get more people's eye on the content? How do I get people to feel like it's a community? I post stuff and there's crickets. There's no interaction. Not sure people are seeing the posts. And so let's just talk about that, right? This idea of how do I get people's eyes on content? So we just really need to take a step back and think, what do the social media platforms want, right? They are not trying to appease the admins or page owners or people like that. They're trying to make sure the users are happy. And so Facebook is going to show stuff that the users want to see. And the way they know that is if users click and they'll read more, which you'll never know, by the way. They'll comment, they'll react, or if they're friends with that person. So if I'm in a group and I'm friends with someone and we message, they're going to see all my stuff because Facebook's going to be like, these people are tight. And so it's really important to remember, what is it that people like when it comes to community? And so when I think about social media, I actually try not to think about social media. I try to think about what's happening offline in the real world. So if I were to have a party, right? A group is like a big party that you're hosting on a certain topic, right? With certain interests. It's not necessarily my birthday party. That would be on my personal page. But, maybe it's a work celebration or it's a customer retention. I want you to think of it like it was an in-person customer retention event. How would you get people riled up and engaged and excited? And maybe you don't even know the answer to that either, which is why I think this is going to be helpful for you regardless. So if we were in a room, what would my goals be, right? The first thing I would do as a host of a group, right, is when new people came in, I would make sure to greet them, welcome them, and make sure they got involved in something as quickly as possible, right? Whether it is going and getting a drink, whether it is getting an appetizer, whether it is introducing someone. If someone walks in and they're not greeted in this like huge party that we're having, and they don't know anyone, and people are talking about things that they don't even know, right? They're gonna be a wallflower and they're likely to leave, right? Or just disengage until it's appropriate for them to slip out. That's how human nature is. And so the first thing that we need to do if we want people to see our stuff is we need to welcome them. Once a week, hit the new members, welcome, and we need to get them to engage right away. So I like to ask a question that is fun, right? Like, tell us something interesting about you so it makes them feel smart, funny, or cool. Maybe where they're from, maybe what company they're with is something I do. What's one word that describes who you want to be? Make sure they're really easy to answer. You can do something that has nothing to do with your product, right? Are you more welcome? Are you more of a coffee or tea person? You can do anything as long as the answer makes them feel smart, funny, cool, easy, right? And helps people to get to know others, because as soon as they enter the group, right, think about it, they get tagged, they comment on something, and then you can go back later and respond to them at whatever interval you want. Now they're more likely, right? Facebook is like, oh, this person likes this group, I'm going to show them the next few posts, right? That's something that's really important. Okay, so now let's go back to our dinner party. We have a bunch of people, and if this is helpful for you, if you have any thoughts on this, if you have questions, or if you have like, oh, that was helpful, put it in the comments so I know, because that helps me as well. Okay, so we welcome them and we make sure we ask a question that is easy for them to answer or fun for them to answer, so they start to see some of the posts. Now, if we were in a room, we would want a few really key objectives, right? Like if I'm running an education training and I want you to ask yourself, what if I paid you money for every one of these? So the first thing is, and this I think is the biggest part of it, is you want success stories. You want them to have success stories. This isn't about graphics, guys, or information, right? Information, we want our information to evoke emotion. And the best way to do that is success stories. And so I want to ask you, if we were to pay you $10 for every single success story that someone posted in your group, how would that change the questions that you ask in the group? How would that change what it is that you did? The second objective, right, is to make sure that they are at the next event. And again, if I were to pay you $10 for everybody that attended your next webinar on new products, your next business opportunity webinar, or a one-on-one or whatever, what would that look like? Right? What would change in your posting strategy? And then the third objective is to remove barriers to using whatever you're giving them. Really simple things like how to use XYZ product on a daily basis, right? Like we need to remember that our target market is people that are new to the group, not people who have been in the group forever, because we want to make sure that they have engagement. Right? As we're able to interact with people and we let them know, instead of putting in the posts all the details, which is hard to read, it's hard to go back and find, try doing a, hey, if you want the details on how this works, comment below and I'll send it to you in Messenger. It's way easier for people to find it again by going to their Messenger. I just started a new group called The Resilient Leader, and one of our clients posted a margarita recipe in the event for the happy hour that we're having. And I didn't remember where it was. It took me a while to find it. And while where she put it in the event was 100% the most appropriate place to put it, it was hard for me to find. And I was like, man, I wish I would have just gotten this in Messenger. It would have been so much easier to look up her name and get the recipe. And I want you guys to think about how people use social media and how hard it is to actually consume information when it's on like an image or something like that. The more that they are engaging with things, clicking on things to read more, commenting, reacting, messaging with you, the more likely they are to see stuff. Now, just for context, whenever I coach on social media, I notice that people get so frustrated because they think they are sucking and they are losing and they are the worst, when actually they're doing pretty well. So just to give you a little context, I have had 3 years of social media training from someone who used to run a multi-million-dollar digital marketing agency. We're pretty good at social media. Like I feel really, really confident about all of our strategies. Groups is really, I think, where we do our best work. And so I just want to give you some stats to help you to understand. So one of the groups I run is called the Christian Network Marketers Community, and it's designed to do both, retain clients and introduce us to new people that don't yet know me, but might identify with that group. And so in that group, over the past 4 years, we built it to 1,800 people. Now, most of those, like I think it was up to like 1,200 or so back in 2018. So we had a lot of energy then, and we're kind of ramping back up right now. So my number one post in the past 28 days, here are just some stats. Out of 1,800 people in the group, 635 people saw the post. 110 people commented or reacted. Now, what we can't see is how many people hit click more, which I bet was more. And that was 17% of the people who saw the post, right? They interacted with it with a comment or a post. 17%, and I'm a professional social media coach. So if you have 200 people in your group, right? So let's look at some of these stats. And maybe 70 people saw the post, that's pretty solid. And out of those 70 people who saw the post, 15 people either had a like or a comment, that's pretty solid too, right? I think it's so important that we look at any of the actions in our business that we don't get caught up or frustrated in things we cannot control. We need to focus on what we can control. I heard one definition of stress, that stress is trying to control things we have no control over, and that's why it creates so much anxiety for us. Well, when it comes to social media strategy, here are the things that we can control. We can control how often we post, we can control the types of posts, and we can control our skill set, right? And our ability to learn and figure things out and experiment. We can control our attitude. We cannot control what other people do. We always cannot control what people see. But what we know is that if we produce different types of posts, so there are 5 different types of posts. We have engagement posts, which are usually a quick answer type. We have stories, which are typically longer form, that give a behind the scenes view. We have value posts, which are helpful, like teaching type posts. This would be considered a value post. We have call to action posts, and we have social proof posts. Different people enjoy different types of things on Facebook. I don't like to comment a lot on stuff. I get so many notifications throughout the day that makes it kind of hard for me to keep up with my work notifications. So I don't do that a lot, but I usually read people's comments or I read people's stories. I don't usually watch videos because I'm on Zoom a lot. But I like reading stuff. And so then you have other people who really enjoy videos while they'll just play the video while they're doing the dishes, and they'll like that, or they like that connection. And you have other people that love to engage in these fun conversations. And that's how we build community. We need to remember that communities are made up of different types of people, like different types of needs, and we need to use different types of posts. So just as a recap for those of you that are maybe recently joined us live or frantically trying to jot down the different thoughts, when it comes to your customer group, I want you guys to remember your objectives. Number 1, we want as many success stories as possible. Number 2, we want to get them to the next event. Number 3, we want to remove barriers to usage. I want you to think of it like a dinner party or a big party that you're having. As soon as someone comes into your group, welcome them, make sure that they engage. They're more likely to see the posts, and also just keep a realistic view on what success looks like. You are killing it if a third of the people see your posts, and if like 20% engage, you are doing awesome. So don't give yourself too hard of a time when it comes to some of these things. Now, if you want to learn more about how to make your customer group the most hopping thing, getting people to convince other people to enroll, create a pipeline for builders, create duplication, all of those things, those promises that a customer group can do, I recommend that you get some guidance on that. So we're going to do a workshop on October 15th, and we're going to cover all of that. We're going to cover the core strategies. We're going to cover some of the mistakes, and it is going to be an awesome workshop. If you are already a member of our group coaching, the Emerge Surge, that'll be included and as part of your membership. If you're not part of the Surge, we will open this up to anyone who wants to attend. So anyone that wants to attend, I will put the link in the comments. If you're listening to a podcast, there are show notes. I do have an early bird special depending on the date that you're listening to this. So I'll put that in the Facebook Live because I don't think we'll get it on the audio version. If you are listening to this after October 15th, 2020, no worries. You can go back and get the recording. We're going to teach you how to help people. So this will be timeless stuff that'll work regardless, that you can adjust even if it's a little bit later. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Check the comments or the show notes for a link on how to sign up for that workshop. And if you are already a member of the Emerge Surge, no worries. We got you. You already have an email with your login there. So have a great Monday, friends, and I'll talk to you soon.